getting quite cool here in the garage. Well, there's no heating down here. So as winter approaches, it kind of becomes a little more wearing coats and scarves and things. But anyway, that's fine. Peter Clayton is with me. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Welcome to the Garage and the Court of Public Opinion. If you're looking at it on Facebook or you're listening to it as a podcast, welcome. And if you enjoy what we talk about and you'd like to add to it, if you want to contribute, you can comment. You can tell your friends too, because the more people we have listening and viewing, clearly, the better. I mentioned here yesterday that I had the letter that Jacinta Price had sent to Peter, and I will read that to you because as the voice will continue for some time to be a talking point, I won't go overboard on it, but it's like an itch I can't scratch, and I truly have all the alarm bells in the world ringing about this. It's not something we can let sneak through to the keeper. It really isn't. But we'll get to that in a couple of seconds. March the 28th, and if it's your birthday, I wish you a very happy day. Neville Bonner, speaking of voices, now there was an Aboriginal voice. Neville Bonner. He was the first Indigenous Australian to become a member of the Parliament of Australia. Born in New South Wales, he died in 1999. I used to have him on my program regularly. He was such a common sense, down-to-earth, practical, level-headed, community kind of person. Spectacular man. Do you remember Neville Bonner, Pete?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, very, very admirable guy. Born 1922 on this day. Nathaniel Briggs of New Hampshire patents the washing machine on this very day. It was 1797. Wonder what the Nathaniel Briggs looked like. Probably a tub and something that went up and down or round, I suppose, but there it was. It was the first washing machine. Michael Parkinson. Has Michael Parkinson been knighted? I can't remember. Don't know. Michael Parkinson, 1935, he was born, British broadcaster and talk show host. Still alive, born 1935, which makes him getting on for 90. I remember reading something about him the other day when he said, I look in the mirror and I don't know who it is. He just doesn't recognise himself. Well, I don't know. I think we should all be a little bit like Dick Van Dyke. Do you see that wonderful story? There he is nearly 100 years old, looks as fit as a fiddle, great white beard, and there he is holding his 49-year-old bride. And he says, look, this woman makes me feel half my age. Well, she is half his age. But they're obviously in love and having fun. What the hell does it matter? Yes. The first seaplane takes off from the waters of, where is it? Martinique. 1910. I wonder what that looked like. The first seaplane took off on this day. Peter Ustinov, great British actor and author and journalist, comedian, broadcaster, death on the Nile. He dies of a heart attack at the age of 82 in the year 2004. The Louvre opens to the public. Officially, it wasn't open until August, but it kind of opened anyway. On this day in 1794. Tony Barber, Australian television personality, Great Temptation, Sale of the Century, born 1940. Happy birthday, Tony. The first microfilm device was introduced in 1922. Dirk Bogarde, writer, actor, death in Venice, servant, born London, died 1999 and born in 1921 on this day. Scotch whisky factory explodes, burying 20 firefighters in Glasgow, Scotland. Major disaster. What a horrible way to go. A Scotch whisky factory explodes. That was in 1960. Maria von Trapp, the Austrian singer who inspired the sound of music, the Trapp family singers, dies of heart failure at 82. That was in 1987. I spoke to her once. Reba McEntire, spoken to her too, American country singer. Can't Even Get the Blues was one of her hits, and Consider Me Gone, another, born Oklahoma in 1955. Yes. Anyway, happy birthday if you're having a birthday or a wedding anniversary, a day of celebration. Now let me grab this letter from Jacinta Price. It was addressed to Peter. Senator Price says, the activists trying to stuff the dangerous and divisive voice to Parliament into your constitution keep saying Indigenous Australians don't have a voice. Really? Jacinta asks. Really? When you think about it, it's a strange thing to say. In fact, it's pretty close to a barefaced lie. I have a voice, and so do 10 other Indigenous Australians in Parliament. But let's leave that aside for the moment. Let's just focus on the other voices. There are over 100 Indigenous-specific official advisory boards and organisations in Australia. They are what they call the Coalition of Peaks. That's a different body, a body representing over 80 Aboriginal community groups. And don't forget, Indigenous Australians have their own voice, the same as any Australian, at the ballot box. But now activists are pushing to put up another voice, this time in the Constitution. And what do we get for all of the billions of dollars spent on these hundreds of voices? An economic crisis, youth crime in the Northern Territory, and no better outcomes for Australian Aboriginal people. Not only that, so many of these voices are out there attacking Australia Day, disrespecting Anzac Day, and pushing their activist agenda into every part of your life. It is time, Jacinta Price says, it is time to say enough is enough. It's time to say no. The voice to Parliament is a dangerous and divisive proposal that will cost the earth to give a small handful of politicians and activists another platform to push their views upon you. So, and I had to look at this a couple of times, it's enough, but she's printed the E-N-O-U-G-H, but made the N-O part of it really big. Very clever, Jacinta. You can raise a mighty voice that says no to the activists, busybodies, running our country and attacking your constitution by helping to meet Fair Australia's $500,000 March Fighting Fund. The best bet is that every single dollar you contribute will be matched thanks to the generosity of fellow supporter Simon Fenwick. Now, I don't know who Simon Fenwick is. Do you, Pete? No, I don't. The activists have the big dollars and the big business and, of course, the backing of the big media. It's up to you and me to stand together and push this powerful message out to the millions of Australians who need to hear that they are not alone. Enough is enough. Yours in unity, Jacinta Price. It's another good letter, Pete.
Yeah, she's a gem.
Another good letter. There's no way that we here in the Court of Public Opinion, and as I said to you yesterday, I don't intend to bang on endlessly about the voice, but I do really think we should cover it effectively because you won't see an effective coverage, and I hope this is effective, in too many other places in the media. And you can ask quite reasonably why that is the case. I don't know. But there's no way here in the court of public opinion from my garage we can hope to balance the avalanche of propaganda for the Voice that will be pouring, particularly out of the ABC. But just let me say this. The Australian Federal Parliament now includes, as Jacinta Price pointed out in her letter, 11 Indigenous parliamentarians. That is nearly 5% of the total number of politicians. Aboriginals, of course, in the community represent 3% of the population in Australia. 3%. The Aboriginal community is therefore over-represented in Parliament, not under-represented. And that's the voice they should use, as it's the voice we all should be encouraged to use. Unless, of course, you want to treat black people differently to white people, for no other reason other than the colour of their skin. And that is clearly racist. So what I'm saying is if we go to this referendum to vote for or against, we are voting for or against racism, pure and simple. How in God's name do they think they're going to get a yes vote when a yes vote is a clear vote for racism? I don't believe Australians are racist. We are, like all people, I suspect, a bit tribal. A bit tribal, maybe, but there's a big difference. Parliament truly reflects the diversity of the Australian community, and I truly believe that. Different opinions, different races, different ages, different sex, different background, different education, and of course different political beliefs. Now this is democracy. This is all we need. But it don't come cheap. These people want to make it a hell of a lot more expensive. I've never quite understood within our democracy how we manage to get things out of balance, out of perspective. Aboriginal people have a very important place in our country and, of course, in our history. Very important. But so do a lot of other people from a lot of other places in the world. I believe in equality. 3% of the population does not entitle a group of people to have their own flag, for example. No way in the world. And that flag is displayed, as you well know, with equal prominence to the official Australian flag and also the flag for the Torres Strait Islands. Now, when you talk about the Torres Strait Islands, there are 45,000 people from the Torres Strait Islands in Australia. 45,000 people. Not in anybody's wildest flights of imagination would that entitle someone to have his own flag officially displayed, and particularly behind the Prime Minister and during important announcements. I just don't understand it. We have an Australian flag, the Australian flag, which we should honour. We should have one flag displayed. I don't know how you'd ever get that up as a question in a referendum or something, because it's not something, I guess, that you'd find in the Constitution anyway. It should be up to the common sense of the people involved. I think there's a huge protocol department in Canberra. Probably there's a even bigger one attached to the Prime Minister's office. I don't know. But there's no way in the world that this business of having 3 flags should be allowed to go on. It's just plain absolutely silly. I frankly think it's patronising as well. I will say this, the Prime Minister is so emotionally and politically invested in this voice to Parliament thing. If he doesn't get it across the line, he's going to be in some serious trouble, I would think. It's just a massive distraction. I can't count the number of experts and professors and authorities on the subject of constitutional law and the ins and the outs and the experts, and they don't agree. Does the government really think the general public is going to get $100 million worth of value out of that divisive referendum? I don't. The ABC, by the way, I honestly believe has got to stop campaigning. I admit I'm campaigning here, but then again I'm not the ABC and I don't have a charter which I'm pretending to adhere to of fairness and objectivity and that kind of thing. It's about reporting from their point of view. That's what they should be doing. Where's the discipline, the editorial rigour, the checks and the balances, the professionalism? Thursday and Friday, particularly the 7:30 report, I can't understand Laura Tingle. I used to know her father. John Tingle and I used to work together at 2GB, but Laura's a completely different kettle of fish. It's not her medium. She's very wooden, can't read the auto cue, and I don't really get it, but she obviously has quite a bit of sway within the ABC, if I could put it that way. I don't know. But on the subject of the ABC, leading up to October, we can look forward to the endless interviews and various people promoting the yes vote. I can't count the number of interviews along those lines so far, and I can't even think of one that's been done with a person with the opposing view. Balance? Maybe a bit of balance? No attempt to be even-handed. But in any case, as I think I said to you the other day, the best advice I could give you is, if in doubt, don't. Really as simple as that. Thank you very much for viewing the Court of Public Opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Believe in yourself. We'll get off this voice tomorrow, come up with some other stuff. Thanks for your comments. I appreciate them. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.